Welcome back. This is Dr. Hadley. This is my series on Microsoft 365 Excel, the online version. We're going to start a new unit today. We're going to start talking about text functions. So, if you go to formulas, you can find all of the text functions here, but we're just going to kind of go through them little by little. The first set is basically formatting functions. Okay. So, and for this lesson, you're going to need to go towards the link for this text source. It will be provided in the video description if you want to follow along. But in terms of formatting, we can see that the formatting of these is pretty, jacked up. So, like this is all caps and this is lowercase and then all caps. If we want it to be consistently, one way or the other, we can use formatting functions. Okay. The first one is lower. Equals lower. And it makes everything lowercase. But that was already lowercase. But if I autofill it a little bit, you can see it makes everything lowercase. And upper is, as you suspect, makes everything uppercase. So basically like as if caps lock was on. Okay. Make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Finally, there is a function called proper that takes the first letter of each word, or based on spaces and such, and capitalizes that. So, proper equals proper cell, and I'm going to get the name with the first letter of first name capitalized and the last name capitalized. Okay. Finally, in terms of least formatting functions, we have this function called trim. So you can see that this John Smith has a bunch of leading spaces, and you can't really see them, but also has a bunch of spaces after the word. Okay, we don't want those. We want it to just be John Smith. We can use trim to trim that up. So trim equals trim. And what it's going to do is it's going to remove the spaces in front and at the back, but nothing in between. So just any leading spaces or spaces that are trailing after text, it's going to remove those and leave behind everything else, including spaces between other characters. So those are the formatting functions. I'm going to remove some of these just to save some space. Okay. But next we're going to talk about functions that extract text from a string. Okay, and I say string. String is just a formal term for anything that's text because it's a string of characters. But in any case, these functions take apart certain aspects of a string. Okay, and that can be something that looks like a number, like the phone number, and things of that sort. Okay, so the first one is left. Equals left, and it's asking for a text string. So let's just take this Robert, Johnson, comma, and how many characters I want to take from that. Okay, so maybe I just want the first letter of the first word, or maybe the first three letters. And if I do the first three letters, I'm going to get Rob. That's the kind of thing that left can do. It's going to, but I could use it, if these phone numbers over here were formatted correctly, I could use it to get just the area codes for everybody. Another one is, as you can expect, is right. Okay. Equals right. Okay, same kind of text. Comma. How many characters? But this time from the right, so I should get SON. And the last one that's like these is called mid. Okay. So which gives you which extracts stuff from the middle. Okay, so I got Michael. Actually, let's take this address, not a name. Okay, and now it's saying start number. Okay, so where do you want to start taking text from? So maybe I want the street name. Okay, it looks like, at least in this one, that's in the 5th position. Maple starts in the 5th position. So I'm going to do 5, comma, and then how many characters? It looks like it's going to be a total of 8. And that's going to give me Maple Street. That one is a little trickier. It's like, well, you had to count and all these other things. And that's where, combined with other functions, this can be a lot more powerful. For example, we can use the function called find. So let's say I wanted in separate cells the first name and the last name. I go equals find. Okay, within this text, comma. Oh, sorry. I want to find the text within the text. So the text I'm looking for is a space. So whenever you're working with strings, unless you're using cells, you have to have it in quotes. If I just have a space, it's not going to read that right. So quote, space, quote, comma, then within, this cell, comma, and then by default, I can say, it's going to be 0 start at the beginning, but I can say, okay, well, there's always going to be a space, in position 3, so maybe I start with position 4 or something like that. But in this case, I don't need that. But this tells me the space is 6. Again, what does that matter? I know that the first name has to be 1 less than that. So first name, okay, equals left of this guy, comma, how many characters, parenthesis, this minus 1. Space is in the 6th position, so I want everything up to 6th, which would be 5 in this case. And now I get David. Lastly is the last name, equals right, text, comma. Here's the problem. I don't know how many characters the last name is. So I want to use one other function, and that is called len, okay? Because that's the length, equals len. This tells me how many total characters that string has. So I know that it's 12 long, meaning the last name has to be basically the difference, equals left, okay, text, okay, I still want David Taylor, comma, and now I want the number of characters. So I know the total number is the length, is J8, and I know the space starts at 6, so it should be either this minus, the space, or minus that in a +1. Let's try this and just see what happens. Oh, I have left again. Haha. I want right. There we go. And you can see I get exactly what I need by doing the difference between the two. And if I auto-filled this a little bit, I'm going to get all the first and last names, as I should, independent of how long the first name is or the last name is. We're going to wrap it up with that. That is more than enough time. We'll look at some other functions in the next lesson. But I hope you learned something today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep watching, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.